There are some models in economics that are computational computer models that you can use to analyze taxes and spending. And one of the key things in those models is how much foresight do people have? Like, do you recognize that what you're doing now will require higher taxes, lower spending in the future? Do you recognize that it might be the next generation has to do it and pass along to them maybe a bequest that allows them to pay the bill, right? And in the formal models, it gets quite elaborate. And if you allow that to be extended out enough, you essentially have people looking to the end of time and knowing whether you're on track or not. And so if you build such a computational model, and economists do that, and we got one at CBO, and then use it to try to analyze the US federal budget, it can't solve. It just crashes. Because if you look to the end of time, it doesn't work. Like, we are blowing up, literally. So we used this to analyze the president's budget one year, but the first decision you had to make was, what are we going to do to make sure it doesn't blow up so that we'll actually be able to compute the impacts? And it meant you had to have this enormous tax increase out in, at the time, like 2050 to get things back on track. And then you could analyze what went on between 2003 and then. The most instructive thing is the thing Congress never saw, which is that we are in such a mess, and that was 20 years ago, that it's never going to add up. It matters because that debt is part of the reason you're having trouble getting your household budget to add up. Most people think of the threat as the looming crisis, the big sovereign debt meltdown that feels like the financial crisis. That's a real possibility that we can talk about. But I've been most concerned about the fact that for 25 straight years, we have run very large federal deficits, even when times are good. It's appropriate to do something special in response to a financial crisis, in response to a pandemic. But the difference between doing it right, which is what we did back in the 20th century, and getting it wrong, which is what we've been up to, is there's been no cleaning up afterwards. When we had World War II, we then got the debt paid off. When we had the Korean War, we paid that off. I mean, things happened in the 20th century, but people cleaned up. That hasn't been going on. And so the debt's just gone up. And when the government is taking $2 trillion, as right now they are, business as usual, spend 7, raise 5 in taxes, take 2 in borrowing, that $2 trillion is not available to anyone to go to college, graduate school. It's not there to train workers. It's not there to buy software, do a merger and acquisition. It's not there to do any of the things that make us more productive as a nation. And that's how you live better. You get more productive and you get a higher wage and the standard of living goes up. It's not just the federal debt, but in the 20th century, the standard of living doubled every 29 years. Now it doubles every 56 years. And there's a lot of evidence that the generations now don't feel they have the same opportunities as their parents. It's true. And I'm upset about that. And it's because we have put headwinds on the growth of this economy that it didn't need. It doesn't need to be dragging around this debt. And it isn't noticeable in any single year, but it adds up. And if you do the math, it adds up to $25,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. I want my 25. I don't know about you. You might want your 25. But we've made it harder. If they had $25,000 more dollars every year, it wouldn't look so bad. So we've already done a big disservice. And I think that's the part I'm most troubled that people don't know about. They're told everything's good, but it could be a lot better. From the perspective of what we do as a nation, one of my deepest concerns about the budget is not just the taxes, spending mismatch, it's the structure of the budget. The founders thought the role of government was basic research, infrastructure, education, national security. Those are all places where you're investing in the future and you're taking care of things. Those have now gotten squashed down to be about 25% of the budget. And the big programs, which are just ways to support a better lifestyle, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, all of those are just really subsidies to the consumption of goods and services now. So we're taking current satisfaction and crowding out all our investments in the future, including funding basic research. And so I think that's a mistake. It's a trade-off. We want to have a Social Security program because we don't want seniors to live in poverty. That's a noble objective. But it's a matter of the balance. And I think we've gotten the balance a little out of whack. In my perfect world, we would have a lot less mandatory spending, entitlements, and a lot more discretionary. In part because I think the budget is also a great disservice to a representative democracy. Here's what I mean by that. My kids want different things than evidently my parents did in the 1960s when we designed the federal budget. But most of the money now is a legacy of decisions made in the 60s. The social welfare state, the Great Society programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all of that. And there's no money for something that my daughter thinks there should be a paid parental leave program nationwide. Everyone gets some time off. I know a lot of people agree with that. There's no money for it. Why? It's all spoken for by 1965. That's not fair. They are voters. They have things they want to do. And the way we've overspent and stuffed the budget makes it impossible for people to get what they want out of their government. And that breeds a very bad public sentiment, a real skepticism and cynicism about the government. I think we should be worried about that.